Hi, my name's Emily Lebo, and today we'll be looking at the guiding principles for developing a health system budget. So first we must look at our learning objectives throughout this presentation. At the end of this video, you as the viewer will be able to identify key characteristics of a health system budget in order to create a sound budget, and you also will be able to make informed decisions on what should and shouldn't be specifically taken into account within a budget and just why. So first of all, we need a little background information on what exactly a budget is and when it's done. So first of all, the what. A budget is the efficient use of scarce economic resources weekly, monthly, or yearly. These can occur in monthly and yearly and even weekly budget meetings that include the healthcare executives or the C-suite, so the CEO, CFO, and CNO, for example, of these healthcare systems, and it will also include higher up management in all of the varying departments such as neurology or women's health. So what exactly is the benefit of knowing how to create a healthcare system? Well, first, budget development can benefit all departments throughout. This includes neurology, women's health, gastroenterology, and budgeting is also key to ensuring financial stability throughout the health system to benefit all, from the physicians to the patients themselves. So the first step in creating a sound budget would be strategic planning. Within strategic planning, the company needs to know why exactly it exists. It looks at its values, visions, and missions, and what it hopes to accomplish in the future. Once these goals are in sight, they can begin looking at revenue projection. Revenue projection includes looking at past financial performances, whether it be the last week, the last month, or the last year, and utilizing these past financial performances to project their future growth and their income within this growth. Within this projected growth income, you have to look at future growth goals as well and how they align. You then will need to look at fixed and variable cost projections for your healthcare system. Fixed variables are those variables that don't change year to year, week to week, or month to month. These include utility costs, which are everything that keep the hospital building running, water, electricity. It also includes employee compensation for physicians, nurses, outside workers such as IT, and even administration. It then looks at cost per patient year. So this includes the cost per bed within the hospital, whether it's occupied or not. For example, the equipment needed if it's occupied, or the physicians or nurses needed if it's occupied as well. Variable costs then are those costs that fluctuate monthly, such as supply costs, for example, replacing diagnostic equipment in certain departments. And the other variable cost that can be taken into account is overtime costs. Lastly, you need to look at the healthcare system's target operating margin. So this needs to be looked at for both for-profit and not-for-profit healthcare systems. Overall, the operating margin is the operating efficiency, how much is left after all necessary costs are paid. This target operating margin can then be an indicator of the strength of the hospital system financially. A real-world example of how creating a sound healthcare budget can be affected is, and I quote, "Facing a financial squeeze, hospitals nationwide are cutting jobs." This article looked at how the instability and how up in the air the current healthcare plans are and the changes made by the new administration can affect the different hospitals across the country. Just in the past month, hospitals in 10 states, from Kentucky to Minnesota to New Mexico, have made public plans for staff reduction. So because there's this chance of a growth in uncompensated care since millions of people will be losing insurance, this now must be taken into account in the budgeting sectors of these healthcare systems. Because of the growth in uncompensated care, they must then cut costs somewhere else, which in this case, they're cutting staffing. Another real-world example would be health IT spending rises for patient satisfaction. So in this turn, it looks at how health IT spending is increasing and how the budgets must take into account larger growth areas in IT. And I quote, "Not surprisingly, health IT spending is rising again, with 2/3 of hospitals reporting increased technology budgets for this fiscal year. More than a quarter of hospitals, 27%, have seen increases in their tech budgets of more than 5%. This increase in IT budget and tech budgets then would require them to cut costs somewhere else in the future." So to review our learning objectives, we've identified the key characteristics of a health system budget in order to create a sound budget. We've also looked at how to make informed decisions on what should and should not specifically be taken into account within a budget and why exactly. Overall, thank you for watching. For more information, feel free to contact me via LinkedIn at the link below. Thank you.